Hey everybody. Let's see. Let's give people a chance to know I'm live. It's been a while since I've been live on the book. And hey guys. Ah, good morning everyone. You know what? As you come into live and let people know that I'm live, share it with your friends. I'm going to talk about, some interesting things. And excuse me, okay, that's my oatmeal. I shared it in the description, but there are three key areas in government contracting that contractors just overlook. And I'm going to share that in a minute. Just let me grab my oatmeal. And that'll also give you time to tag your business bestie, grab your beverage, and to get back here. And while you're at it, say hello. Um, Tell me where you're watching this from. If you're catching this by the replay, hashtag replay. And I also want you to tell me what is your greatest takeaway after you've watched this. Because, you know, hold on for a second. Okay, I'm back. Right. So, tell me your greatest takeaway after you watch this live because I want to ensure that the information I'm giving you is making an impact. Don't mind me. I'm having breakfast while I do this live. However, one of the key takeaways, so let me back up a little bit. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. For those of you who know me, hello. For those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Luciana Turner of the LT&A Consulting Group. I provide government contracting, consulting, and training solutions to those seeking or who are already operating in the government space. That is a whole lot of words to say. I provide more than proposal support. And I'm getting ready to come back to that. I help you build contracting businesses so that you're sustainable and scalable. And that goes beyond looking and responding to a proposal. We have to go beyond this whole, I'm looking for the RFP. There's more to government contracting than just responding to an RFP. And that is one of the key areas contractors overlook. They're so busy chasing the proposal, they're so busy chasing the RFP until they forget their business. The first key area is your business. You have to be sustainable, you have to be profitable, and you have to be scalable. There is more to government contracting than seeking a proposal. And that's one of the key areas that make you unsuccessful in government contracting. So when you go to answer an RFP, some of the questions actually hint to that, or they're seeking to see how long you're going to be around. And because you're answering the question in such a way that tells the government you're not in it for the long haul, or you're not developing your business, of course you're not going to win. Excuse me. Of course your proposal is not going to get chosen. Of course the client isn't going to pick you. You're not sustainable. You're not building a business. You're building a response. And that's where so many contractors go wrong. You need to do both. Build a business and build a response. You are a business owner. Don't forget that. And the government is looking to reduce its risk by doing business with companies that are going to be around for the long haul. And if you're always chasing the proposal and never developing a solid foundation, then why should the government trust you? And I know somebody's hearing this message going, well, the government isn't stable itself. Well, the government has been around since roughly 1772. So no matter what you think of it, it has longevity. It has longevity, so it's doing something right. So that's the first point. You're building a business, and you need to be scalable and sustainable. Another point that we just saw go on a week ago, 2 weeks ago, the House just fired a speaker. They only passed a 45-day continuing resolution. And if you're like me, you keep abreast of what's going on in the government contracting world. Now, I host a daily live that's out there, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can listen to me on your way to the office while you're making your morning coffee, getting the kids ready for school, contracting chatter. I stream it now exclusively to YouTube. I will drop my YouTube channel before the live is over. However, so if you're keeping aware of that, there's a continuing resolution that funded the government for 45 days. So you're seeing all these pop-up articles about what's going to happen, what's going to happen. And somebody is of the mindset, well, that's all political. Do you know how contracts are funded? The contracts are funded by your client, which is the agencies or departments which comprise the government getting funded by Congress. So you need to have an eye on what's going on. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily have to keep your eye on the news, but you should have your eyes on sources or resources that keep you abreast of what's going on. So are you aware of what's affecting your client? And that's a key factor to your contracting plan. Because even if the government, quote, shut down, there are agencies that will forever get funded. So what is your contract mix? I talk about all this in my book, Keys to Government Contracting, which is coming out soon. I hope you bought a copy when it was in pre-sale. If you're still looking to buy a copy, you can order a copy in my Shopify store. I'll drop the link. You're still in pre-sale. I'll drop the link for you to get an order a pre-sale copy. I talk about all of this in creating your contracting plan. Some agencies, even in shutdown, will always be funded. Even during the Great Reset, which is what I call COVID, the government ran. Even in this great economic depression that everybody keeps talking about, which I'll save that for later. Is your business ready for that? Well, you have to be aware of it so you know how it's affecting your client. Not that you're abandoning your primary client, but you may need to flip your focus. But are you even aware of what's going on so that you can talk to your client? And contracting pro tip, you could present yourself as a solution to something that's ailing your client and become a sole source. But if you're not aware of what's affecting your client, you can't even present yourself as the solution. So are you even aware of what's affecting your client? And the agencies and departments that comprise the government is your client. Are you aware of what's going on with them? So we've covered one, you are a business. You need to be scalable and sustainable. And if you're not speaking to your scalability and sustainability in your proposal responses, of course you're not being selected. 2, are you aware of what's affecting your client? And that even seeps through in your proposal responses. Because if you're not aware, when you draft your proposal responses, it seeps through. And the government understands people who are writing in a bubble and people who are writing from a holistic perspective. There's a difference. There's a difference between a company that has a 50% win rate and those who have a 28% win rate. And the last time, and I just looked this up for my book when I did the research, there are government contractors out there who have a 50, 60% win rate. You know why? Because they have a holistic response to their proposal process. And their response is they have an eye, and their purpose is they have an eye on their client. They understand what affects them and is in their entire process. They understand that they're a business and they need to be sustainable and scalable. They understand these things. And I'm getting ready to throw in a bonus. When I was in corporate America, I worked for two government contractors, one of which who stays in the top 5 of government contractors. And I worked in their compliance department. They talked about continuing education. And they encouraged it. It wasn't a matter of what or when or who. It was this constant, are you getting your continuing education in? What are you listening to? I went into my VP's office to get a signature on something. And amazingly enough, he was listening to a broadcast similar to this. They're constantly feeding their knowledge. And that's a bonus tip. You have to constantly feed your knowledge. When you get to a place you think you know it all, or when you get to a place you only want to hear one thing, that's when you're at a deficit. And you'll never hear the thing that you need to hear. I'm going to say it again. You'll never receive the answer you need to receive because you're only listening for one thing. When you need to be listening for knowledge in itself, in its totality. Because while you're listening for this, you'll hear things that you didn't even know you were supposed to be listening for. Or you'll stumble upon things, wow, I didn't know that. So while I was in the industry, continuing education was always there. I remember my manager didn't want me to attend the class because she felt I already knew something. And her boss told her, let me go, because there was no such thing as already knowing. So constantly feed your knowledge. And then bonus tip number 3. I just wanted to throw this final bonus tip out there. And then I'm going to jump off for the morning. And I may hop on later on this evening. Bonus tip number 3 is, although the government doesn't have a budget, do you have a budget? I'll say it again. Do you have a budget? Every contractor should have a budget established for FY 2024 and beyond. And I talk about this in my book. That budget feeds your rates and you should have stable bid rates. If you are creating rates for every contract, you have too many rates. Unless that contract requires special rates. I'll fix that later. So, in short, I'm going to wrap this up. You're a business. You need to be scalable and sustainable. Be aware of what is affecting your client. We are in an election year. Who gets elected to Congress affects the purse strings of every of your clients' agents, which affects the contract flow. Constantly feed your knowledge. Create a budget, and that budget is the basis for the creation of your bid rates. I cover all of this in a little more detail in my book, Keys to Government Contracting. I will drop the link to pre-order. I'm still taking pre-orders in the description. The book will be available. I was hoping this week, but Amazon did something crazy, and I'm trying to fix it with Amazon. Whew, nobody told me that it goes, and I'm going to do a live another day on what it takes to publish a book. But nobody told me all of this goes into publishing a book. But when I get it fixed, the book will be live. For those who have already pre-ordered, thank you for being patient with me and in the process, and being patient in the process. I had a podcast episode drop last Friday, and a new episode drops next Friday. So, Contractors Conversation. And I'm going to expand upon this topic a little more in a podcast episode, which is why this is under the moniker Contractors Conversation. I'm going to expand upon this a little more. But it's in the book, Keys to Government Contracting. Pre-order your copy today. Take a listen to my podcast, Contractors Conversation. It's on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are heard. And I'll be back to drop a few more government contracting tips. This is Luciana Turner, bringing to you a little more contracting information, bringing to you the compliance factor. Share this throughout your network. And don't forget, drop in the comments some aha moments that you got from this training this morning. Have an amazing, amazing day.